Welcome to This Week in Boxing, a weekly boxing show, brand new for you boxing fans out there. We're going to have different YouTube personalities, we're going to have editors from websites joining myself, where we talk about the week's events in the sport of boxing. This week, I've got a champion amongst champions, the owner of Bayloric TV and many other YouTube channels. Ingram Jones joins me today. How are you, Ingram?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Ingram. Thanks for asking. So, brilliant. Let's get straight into it, mate. So, a bit of quite interesting news from Boxnation the other day. There was a press conference that they've signed amateur star Vijender Singh, an Indian fighter. He's 29. He's a multi-Olympian. He got to the quarterfinals at the London Olympics. It'd be interesting to get your thoughts on it. What do you make of it all?
Well, let's look. Amir Khan got a silver medal, and they made big things of him, I guess, until he left. I think that, for me, Singh signing with Warren's a fantastic move. I think they've really got a gold mine right there. If they use him in the right way, you know, it's also tapping into another market, the Asian community, and being able to really capitalise and take Singh around the UK and in doing boxing bouts. I think it's brilliant, and building a real good fan base around him. So, you know, I think it'll be really good if they follow the Amir Khan way almost, and maybe learn from the mistakes that Khan's made and really build a real solid platform with him. I really do believe he could possibly do more than Amir Khan has done, and probably get a better fan base with maybe a better PR around him as well. Who knows? I'm not saying Amir Khan's done a lot of bad things. I'm just saying that they've got the blueprint now of what to kind of follow after that.
Yeah, he's quite an interesting guy, actually. He's been in Bollywood films. He's not like a real, you know, he didn't win gold medal after gold medal. He wasn't like a Lomachenko. But, you know, is this an example of Boxnation having to diversify so much more, especially with Matchroom having another 5-year deal? Do you think, you know, Boxnation are going to have to keep doing things like this to keep themselves progressing? Because they've done well, to be fair, considering the things they've had against them.
I think so. But one of the things Boxnation can give themselves a tick is that they've still got a boxing channel, which has got a boxing show. Whereas the other platform now, as we know, hasn't got a boxing show anymore. So is that going to get more people going across to, you know, Boxnation or subscribe to Boxnation? Is that going to help? And with those added subscriptions, plus the fact that they've got Singh now, who could potentially be, I mean, he might not have the skill of Oscar De La Hoya, but he could be the Indian Oscar De La Hoya. Let's look at it that way. You know, he's already been in Bollywood movies as well. And don't underestimate the power of Bollywood, you know. So there's a huge draw with this guy. I mean, that's a real big. If they manage him right, like I said, he could do even greater things than Amir Khan.
Yeah. Well, they're not sure if he's going to be middleweight or super middleweight. I think they're going to go with middleweight first. But do you think? Like, I've watched a little bit of him. You know, what do you think they're going to try and get out of this guy? You know. Surely they don't think they can win a world title at middleweight with Vijender Singh. I know he's quite good, but you know, how far do you think they want to push it? Is this just someone?
Listen, if anybody can do it, it's good old Frankie can do it. Listen, that guy will bring you. Not only he'll get you the world title shot at home in your backyard, he'll do it. So, I mean, there's no reason why, you know, he couldn't win a version of the title. And let's think about it. Will the likes of GGG be around in 2 or 3 years' time at middleweight? Will GGG have moved up to super middleweight by now? Or light heavyweight? Who knows? The boxing is so unpredictable. But there's a man in Frank Warren, you know, and of course his sons as well. I'm sure they'll have a game plan. I'm sure their game plan will be to maximise and make as much money as possible. And look, even if he doesn't win a world title, he will have such support going into fighting for that world title. I'm sure that win, lose or draw, he's still going to be a star. Yeah. You know, I think it'll be one of those situations.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking while you were talking there that sort of who we got in the middleweight division who's still going to be there in a few years. You've got Billy Joe Saunders. He's going to be around. He's probably going to win a world title. Chris Eubank, Andy Lee, Spike O'Sullivan at the top of my head. Do you think? Obviously, he's not going to go. He's not going to go into that straight away. But you know, Frank Warren, having worked with all these people and obviously manages Billy Joe Saunders, do you think he could be in maybe 2 years down the line in that mix? Because that could create some great fights. Do you think, that is maybe what Frank Warren's thinking?
It could be, but he could be. But let's remember, in this era of boxing, 1 or 2 defeats kind of can put you out the title picture altogether. Eubank could move up to super middleweight because I understand he really does kill himself to make middleweight division. Yeah. So he could definitely move up. Billy Joe Saunders, let's see what he does against Andy Lee. If he loses to Andy Lee, then he's on the rebuilding process again. If Andy Lee loses, then what happens with him? I mean, there's swings and roundabouts. I mean, you think about it, you had Macklin, Barker, Murray, Lee. Barker never fought Macklin. No. So all these things, and Martin Murray as well. These guys never met one another, but you would have thought they would have met one another. But yet they all got shots at the world title. Barker ended up winning the world title.
Yeah.
Macklin's fought for various times for the world title. Murray's fought for the world title, and we thought he should have won it, but he hasn't, even though he should have won, I think, at middleweight. And Andy Lee's won the world title as well. So who would have thought, a lot of people thought, Andy Lee win a world title? No way, mate. Andy Lee's come on. So you never know what can happen in this game of boxing, and so you've got to give Singh a chance. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know whose trainer is going to be or anything, so we'll see.
Okay, brilliant. Well, I think he's going to be doing, someone up in Manchester, I think he's going to be doing a little bit of stuff up there, but I think they said he's going to chop between Manchester and London. I think he's 29, isn't he? So he's a fully grown man. It takes a while. Yeah. So he's going to be Lee Beard is training him actually. I was just looking there, and he'll probably soak up information a bit and learn things a bit quicker, don't you think?
Maybe.
Yeah,
we hope. Yeah, it just depends on his ability to learn, And the other thing is, he's 29 years old. How many bad or good habits has he got? I mean, if he's got really bad habits and then he's got Lee Beard trading him, we've got to understand how does that relationship work. So there's a lot, and there's not much. He's 29 and he's a middleweight. So, you're thinking to yourself, well, what is he going to be around 32, 33, 34? Is he a speed merchant? If he's a speed merchant, then we know that if he's based on speed on reflexes, then we know he's got a limited amount of time. If he's a guy who's got fundamentally good boxing skill and doesn't rely on speed, i.e. like a Bernard Hopkins, we know we've got more time to play with him. So it depends on. I haven't seen much of this guy as a pro, so we'll have to see what he does as a pro. We really do.
Yeah, well, he's definitely got the amateur pedigree. Well, moving on from Vijender, Martin Murray's been confirmed today. He's going to be added to the July 18th card in Manchester, campaigning at super middleweight again. Basically, what I want to talk to you about is what do you really think Martin Murray can do? What do you think Matchroom's plan for Martin Murray is? Like, do you think he can win a title? Do you really think he can do that?
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. The in-house thing. The fight I wouldn't be surprised would be made is Martin Murray against George Groves. I think that fight could happen. Really? I think, in my mind, in my thinking, I think Eddie Hearn would love to win a world title off of George Groves. He would love to do that. I think in his mind, he'll probably be thinking, you know what? I've got Martin Murray now. I'm going to keep him nicely active, and let's see what George Groves does. Nothing too dicey, and take on George Groves. Because I know I've got a good chance if I put Martin Murray in the ring with George Groves. If he can take George Groves' best shot and take him to the second half of a fight, I think I've got a world champion here. So why not? And it's a good big, he loves his big British showdowns and his pay-per-view events. Martin Murray, George Groves, come on. You've got a fight right there with another great classic of Callum Smith versus Rocky Fielding. Another great fight. But that's probably not going to happen now because according to Eddie, they're going to go their separate paths. But you can probably see why now as well.
Yeah, it's a shame that. I think that's a real shame, Rocky and Callum not fighting. I don't like when Billy Joe Saunders and Chris Eubank fought each other, like they're both, at the same, maybe a little bit higher than those two are now. But yeah, do you know what I mean? Like Groves and DeGale fought for the British title. I think a lot of these It'd be good to get your opinion, because I'm of the opinion there's a lot of people who are a little bit, with the pampered records. What?
Yeah.
I don't think tasting defeat can be a good thing.
Well, I find it ludicrous that by Callum Smith beating Rebrassi, he now suddenly becomes on the verge of a world title shot. I'm like, well, when did Rebrassi become the gatekeeper to a world title? I'm like, was this a final eliminated world title? I'm like, what? Excuse me? And then you think, okay, how would he do against Sakio Bika, for example, Callum Smith? How would he do against George Groves? How would he do against James Agel? How would he do against Mikkel? Forget those guys. How would he do against Mikkel Kessler? How would Callum Smith do against Mikkel Kessler?
Yeah.
I mean, this is something you ask yourself a question. Well, this is a guy that he's meant to be. How would he do against Andre Durrell? I mean, you're going to tell me that Callum Smith is ranked higher than Andre Durrell?
No, not yet.
Come on.
Not yet. No, a long way out. Well, I was just thinking about his career, and to my thinking, he's never really faced a puncher, has he? Really? Rebrassi.
There you go.
So there's a lot, and Rocky Fielding's obviously. I was
a puncher.
Yeah, probably one of the best punchers in the division, in my opinion. Like, I know he was fighting a Vera who's on his way out, but
Well, I said I expected him to blast Vera out there. I really did, because Vera was shot. I mean, he got knocked out or dropped or badly hurt by Rosado, who's a middleweight, and he's not a big puncher, Rosado. Or was that the BKB thing he fought at, Vera? So after I saw that, I thought, you know what? This guy's shot to bits. So by the time Rocky gets hold of him, if Rocky starts landing some heavy hands on him, he's going early. And that's what I predicted, and that's what happened. I was impressed with what Rocky Fielding did, because he did what he wanted. You have to do against a shot fighter. Get him out of there. Don't give him any room. Don't give him a start. Hit them hard. Hit them early, and see if they want to be around. And Vera didn't want to be around, clearly.
No, not at all.
And good old Ian John Lewis.
Oh God, not again.
Good old Ian John Lewis.
Yeah.
He's always there. He was in the crowd. He was watching the fight. He was watching it a bit too much and enjoying it. Oh, I'm a referee. Hold on, let me try and stop this fight now. He's in the crowd. He's like, yeah, this is a good fight, actually. It's a good fight. And so he goes, you're a referee. Oh, yeah, referee. So I'm a star referee. So what the hell is a star referee? Right? Because, I mean, if he's a star referee, then, he's not even looking after the interests of a fighter. I'm a bit British Boxing World Control. I'm a question mark as to, do you really re-examine your referees month after month, or even 3 months, or even 6 months? Because Ian John Lewis and the other one, Howard Foster, Carl Froch's mate, I mean, even him, those two guys need to be seriously looked at and said, well, some interesting decisions you're making. And if you're kind of, what's the word? How do we put it? If you're hesitant about making a decision in refereeing, then you need to be decisive one way or the other, because fights' lives are at risk here, and they're relying on you. Well, not relying on you. They're hoping that if they're on the end of a beating, you're there to stop it before a fatal blow is landed. And we saw again Ian John Lewis. He didn't know when to jump in, and when he jumped in, it was all a bit scrappy. And we need professional referees that are decisive. It's very important.
I'd agree with that. Do you think? Obviously, I can't get in the minds of the referees, but like Ian John, he's made a few mistakes, quite a lot. Like the Brian Rose, I know Brian Rose, he probably could have lost. He probably looked like he might be going that way anyway. But people debate about that. There's been other ones. Who was it? A cruiserweight fight. I can't remember, but he's done it before.
Matt Crinelli versus Oliver McKenzie.
Yeah, that's it. What? That wasn't very good. So do you think these things, and like Howard Foster with the Froch Groves, do you think they're like still worrying about that? That's what it looks like anyway. It looks like they're still worrying about previous mistakes.
I think that's something. It's like I think referees are like boxers. They can come gun shy. I think you can get ref shy. I think if you had a couple of bad decisions, you've done a few things bad, it plays on your mind. Of course, the press report about it, and people whisper about it and talk about it, and I'm sure they get abused as well. And the referee's job is a hard job. I wouldn't want to be a referee, because if you get it wrong, imagine the flack you get. And these are high-profile fights that you're messing up on. So clearly, there needs to be some sort of timeout, I think, for these referees. And you could say the same thing with these judges as well. I think the judges and the referees are hand in hand. There needs to be some sort of reassessment. Or maybe there doesn't, because maybe those referees are doing a good job and those judges are doing a good job for those promoters, those managers, those fighters.
Yeah, okay, that's very interesting. Well, like, what do you think? Because obviously there's a big difference whenever I watch an American fight and an English fight. Do you find that as well? They always seem to, like, they could be wobbling towards the referee and he'll be like, yeah, go on. Whereas over here they seem to, any sort of kind of hint towards being knocked out, you kind of stop it. Would you agree?
Well, let's remember we had that very tragic situation with Michael Watson.
Yeah.
And that's still much in the minds of the British public and other events such as that. So I think that is another referee, Terry O'Connor, I believe. I think it's Terry. Maybe Terry O'Connor. And even if you go back and look at that fight, I mean, Watson was gone in the 11th round, and he still got dragged out in the 12th round. When Watson he was in no fit state to continue. And you just got to ask yourself the question: with these things that are there, are they almost shadowing over the British boxing, all these bouts and these referees? Is that in their mind? Have they been told by the because I don't know what the British Boxing Board of Control and what they say to their referees, but could it be along the lines of, we don't want another Michael Watson incident happening here? What's making these referees minds, as opposed to America, which is a lot bigger than the UK, and so many different states and so many different ruling parties that it's very different. You've got the Californian state, the New York State Athletic Commission, the New Jersey State Commission, and you think of how big California is. I mean, you could probably fit England in 20 times over in California alone. So when you think about that, there's probably a lot of referees that do mess up as well, but probably they're not highlighted as much because America have got some good referees to choose from. Yeah,
it's interesting.
So
that need to kind of don't want to slag off all the referees out there, if any are listening. I think it's fair to say some changes need to be made.
But nothing. What I'm saying is not what people can see for themselves. I'm not.
Oh yeah,
what you can see.
It comes up after nearly every fight, every card, should I say? Well, there's usually one fight.
Yes.
There's an issue, at least one. There's usually at least one fight that there's an issue with, isn't there?
But when there's repeat offenders, questions have to be asked. It's not like 1 in every 30 fights or 1 in every 40 fights. It's kind of like 1 in every 5 fights. There's a mess up. There's something wrong. That's not good.
No, it's not. Well, yeah.
So something needs to address.
It's funny how you say that, actually, but like after the Froch Groves fight, like obviously that was a real controversial decision, and then like everyone's kind of falling for it almost, aren't they? They sort of stopped it early. If you really look into it, I'm not making any accusations. I don't have any proof myself, but if you think about it, I was just about to say there, it's not good for boxing, these refereeing decisions happening. Well, it's actually the opposite, because the Froch Groves thing happened in the first fight where it got stopped too early, and everyone pretty much agrees with that. And then we got one of the biggest events the country's ever seen a few months down the line.
And the fight was ended conclusively, which didn't need a referee to stop it.
Yeah, thank God. Thank God for that. 8,000 unhappy campers. But brilliant. Well, moving on from that, mate. Something everyone's talking about. I haven't really spoken to many people about this because I do a lot of local stuff. Mr. Floyd Mayweather Jr. What do you think? Because obviously he's been talking about Karen Mayfield and Andre Berto. I kind of think he's going to put those two on one of the cards, so he's boosting their names. All he has to literally do is say their name. I think he's having a good bit of fun with the media. What do you think he should do? What do you think Mayweather should do?
Okay, well, first and foremost, there was a rumour going around that Mayweather was getting ready to fight GGG.
Yeah.
And so GGG was in camp, and he was training down at light middleweight to get down to light middleweight to fight Mayweather. That's what I heard. So, of course, I went and contacted GGG's trainer, who said, no, that's not the case, but if it was the case, I would get him in camp early so we could prepare to get him down to light middleweight because he could make light middleweight. Yeah. So the offer's there. But the thing is, even if we mention GGG as a potential opponent, my question to boxing fans around the world, who has GGG fought that you could say, yeah, that fight right there, that guy was a really good fighter. I think he should fight Floyd Mayweather. We know what GGG can do. You know he's going to come and try and hunt Floyd Mayweather, and you know he's going to try and close Mayweather down. But we also do know that William Monroe started to show us some things about GGG that a lot of GGG fans didn't want to see.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was easy to hit, and the fact that if GGG comes in at straight lines and it's easy to hit with uppercuts and straight right hands, you know, you think to yourself, well, if Floyd were to fight him and to beat him convincingly, like, you know, but be around the ring for 12 rounds, popping, moving, and doing stuff, people are going to be bored of that. And people are going to say, oh, well, you know what? And then the critics will come again. So I don't really want to see, I'd rather not see GGG fight Floyd Mayweather for that same reason, because people say he's not going to outbox Floyd. The only reason they want to see him fight Floyd is because they think he'll take the power down from middleweight down to light middleweight and not. But then every guy who fights Floyd, most guys he's got a puncher's chance. If you've got two fists and you fight Floyd Mayweather, you've got a puncher's chance. Yeah, cool. So how much more of a chance has GGG got as anybody else has fought? You know, he's not a technician. I won't call GGG a technician. He's a puncher. That's what he is. You know, so. And the other thing that bugs me about this whole Floyd Mayweather thing is people are talking about, oh, Floyd's going to beat 50-0. Hold on. What happened to Julio Cesar Chavez? He was 89-0. What about Ricardo Lopez? He was like 50-something-0. I mean, so Floyd Mayweather getting to 50-0, what does that mean? Jack diddly squat, to be honest, to me. So if he fights Berto, one Manuel Marquez in a rematch, because Marquez is fought recently, he's going to have another fight soon again. Maybe he might fight Kell Brook. I don't see him fighting Amir Khan. I don't see him fighting Amir Khan, to be honest. And I don't see him fighting Kell Brook. I wouldn't be surprised if he did fight Andre Berto, to be honest. He said he wants an easy fight for his last fight. He said already, look, man, I want an easy fight. I'm coming to the end of my career. I've proven what I can do. So if he fought Andre Berto, if he fought, what's his name? This guy, Joshua Clottey, who just made a comeback recently. Joshua Clottey. Yeah. Why wouldn't he fight Joshua Clottey? You know, so that's another guy to fight. Oscar De La Hoya, a surprise Oscar De La Hoya comeback. Who knows? Oscar saying one day he's not going to fight, then he's not going to fight, then he's going to fight, then he's not going to fight, I'm never going to fight again. You know, but he doesn't like he doesn't like Floyd Mayweather. It's clear he doesn't like Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. So, you know, for 40, 50 million to go out better than he did against Pacquiao, then, you know, people say, oh, well, Oscar's too old and all the rest of it. So who knows? Nobody knows with Floyd. But to be honest, if this is his last fight, then I don't give a damn who he fights, to be honest. No. I really don't care. I think the sooner Floyd kind of retires, the better in some ways. And just get on with the next generation. He's a great fighter, but I think he needs to finish his fight off, retire, and move on to the sunset, and let some of the new fighters come through in the welterweight and light middleweight division.
Okay,
those are my thoughts.
Cheers, mate. Well, talking about that, obviously he's got Mayweather Promotions, hasn't he? So, and like the Broner Porter fight, he was all over it, wasn't he? You could see him every single video. He was getting in there. And if you notice on YouTube with some of the other channels that he hasn't done work with, because he's known for just going on Fight Pipe and getting the big stuff, isn't he? He's on all the channels now. Yeah. He's on all the channels at the moment, talking about his other fighters. So, what my question to you is, how much of an impact do you think Mayweather's going to have on boxing when he's not a fighter as a promoter? What do you see for Mayweather Promotions?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you can promote all you want, but if your fighters are garbage, then they're garbage. So it depends. Is he going to be attract the quality of fighters necessary to be world champions? You know, who's going to be training these fighters? How long is Roger Mayweather and Floyd Mayweather Sr. going to be around? Yeah. Who's going to be coaching these guys? Who's going to be mentoring these guys? Adrian Broner is a law unto his own self. So, you know, Errol Spence needs to be tested. But please, don't talk about Keith Thurman. Don't talk about Errol Spence, Keith Thurman. Let's see Errol Spence fight somebody that we know that can test him. Jay Leon Love, let's remember that they were hyping him up.
Yeah, they were.
And I was one of those guys, and look what happened to Jay Leon Love. What's this other guy? Badu Jack. He was doing well, got knocked out, came back, won the world title. But is he going to be a champion? It's going to be around for a long time. Who in Mayweather Promotions, in terms of when Floyd goes, is going to be the flagship for that promotional team? Can't be Floyd, because Floyd stopped fighting. And how many guys are going to then go on and do what Floyd's done, which is remain unbeaten, fight multiple weights? Who's going to do that? I mean, if you look at Floyd Mayweather Promotions at the moment, you've got some fighters there. You've got a couple. You've got what's his name's a world champion. I'm probably a few other guys that probably maybe world champions. But I mean, who's the standout guy they've got at Mayweather Promotions?
Probably
standout.
Probably Errol Spence, but he's still learning, isn't he? Yeah. So.
Well, I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't call him standout. I'd say prospect, because we don't know what he can do yet.
Well, that's a good point.
Against good proposition, we don't know what he's gonna. We don't know what he's going to be like when he gets hit hard on the chin. We don't know what it's like when he's been tested. We thought Badu Jack was something decent, and look what happened to him. So we don't really know what's going to happen with Mayweather Promotions when Floyd goes, and we don't know how long Floyd's going to be in the sport of boxing, how long he's going to want to be around the sport of boxing, and with his domestic issues that Floyd does have, who knows if he'll even be around to be able to be a promoter. Who knows? When he gets out of boxing, what's waiting for him? Because he's a great golden goose while he's in boxing, and he's making a lot of people a lot of money. Would he need to extend his career and box a little longer? Should he get himself into any other domestic cases in the future? Who knows? Nobody knows. Floyd Mayweather's domestic life, nobody knows about. So we don't know whether he's going to have more trifling situations before he retires. So his plan may be to retire in his next fight. But should he get himself in another situation with a woman, or with his baby mama, or with the law, or in a club, or you really don't know, or it's propaganda, he's been set up. You don't know with Floyd Mayweather. You really don't know. So you don't know until he retires. We don't know where this is going to go with the whole promotional thing. So I don't know.
Okay. Well, talking about that, you did a really good video actually about anyone listening. Go and check it out on Bayloric TV Boxing, I believe it is. About Adrian Broner and how poor the performance was really, and how he's just acting like a bit of a prat all the time with the guns and the other stuff going on, and he's still kind of this false arrogance. Well, it feels false to me. And you talked about he should sort of go off and go and find himself, is what you were saying. I think he should go off to Africa, go and do some travelling, try and get in touch with.
If not Africa, then up in the Shaolin monks.
Yeah.
In the mountains.
Try anything at this stage.
To find himself. He certainly needs to find himself.
So basically, he's you know what? He's like, he works with Floyd now. You know what? What are they going to do with him? The guy's going to sell tickets no matter what, no matter how rubbish he is. He's probably going to do pretty well. Like, loads of people are interested in him. Do you think he could end up becoming maybe like a high-level journeyman almost? Can you maybe see that?
Andre Berto Mark II.
Yeah, that's interesting actually. That's a really good. I hadn't even thought of that. So
the only thing that hasn't happened yet is Adrian Broner hasn't been knocked out. That's the only thing that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, it hasn't. No. So, do you think he should stay? Do you think I reckon.
Berto wasn't that arrogant either. That's another thing.
Yeah. Dude, I reckon he'd be better going down a lightweight person. I really do think he's, like, as much of a prat he is, like, he's got real quality. Like, he really has. And half the time, he doesn't look like he's given 100%. I just, kind of as a boxing fan, you want to see someone that good give 100%. Do you think life could be, he could make more of a star of himself and not have to, because he got bullied a bit by Porter. Do you think he would be better going down to lightweight, but maybe his head's a bit too inflated to do that? Let
me ask you a question. Do you think that Adrian Broner's the same fighter since he fought Marcos Maidana?
No, he's really not, is he? At all. If you think about
There's my point right there.
So there we go. But
there's my point right there. So whether you have him at lightweight or you have him at welterweight or welterweight, he's got Marcus Maidana issues.
Yeah, that's haunting him.
Right? And I don't think he expected Maidana to do what he did to him. And he hit him so hard, he didn't know where he was coming or where he was going. And the thing about that, after that loss, you know, they built him back up to fight guys, but he never looked impressive in those fights, to be honest. And, you know, you've got to also ask yourself the question, is Adrian Broner shot as a fighter? Is he burnt out as a fighter? Because we know he's had a wild, you know, external lifestyle. You know, we all know about him doing things in the clubs and the videos and the things on the toilet seat and the, you know, we know about all that stuff as well. Has he been burning the candle at both ends? Is he burnt out now, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually as a fighter? You know, to the point where your own mentor, when your mentor tries to pull you together to shake the hands of your opponent, you push your mentor's hand away. That just shows you that Adrian Broner has a respect for nobody, not even the guy that he has modelled his life on and has lost his own personality to. Adrian Broner's got an identity crisis, because if you ask anybody today, who's Adrian Broner? He'll say, he's that guy that mimics Mayweather. But who is Adrian Broner? Because he wasn't born Floyd Mayweather, you know. So if you cannot even respect the man that you modelled your life on, and you've modelled your life and your whole everything about yourself on him, and you won't even respect him anymore, there's a serious identity crisis right there. I think, as I said before in my analysis, that Adrian Broner needs to sack his trainer, sack his management, and go away for about a year and come back. And the plan would be to have, you know, advisors such as Leonard Ellaby, just like how Mayweather built his career, and try and rebuild and be Adrian Broner, the real me. Now let's see what he can do.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. It would be interesting. It'd be interesting to see how he bounces back. Well, finally, mate, talking of a young Manchester man who's going to be fighting for a world title, not this weekend, the weekend after, Terry Flanagan against Jose Cepeda. Initial thoughts?
No, I haven't looked at Flanagan that much, but the one guy I'm interested in is Scott Quigg versus Martinez. Now, That's a fight I'm very interested in.
That's very interesting. How do you see that going?
Ooh, well, we know Quigg's been down before, and he doesn't move his head that much. And I think it's a very interesting fight, because if Martinez has got anything left at world level, which I'm sure he does still, and he still packs that punch, it's going to be a question of whether Quigg can absorb Martinez's best punch, and is Quigg a world-class puncher? That's what I want to know. I mean, he's knocked guys over, and he's a wicked body puncher, but is he a world-class puncher? I like the way Quigg puts his punches together. Unfortunately, he's got zero personality, so people don't really get to know more about Quigg. No, it is. He's got no personality. It's like, you know, it's like watching paint dry, his personality. But as a fighter, I think he's interesting. I think he's got lots of potential. He's got good hand speed and puts his punch together nicely. I like the way Quigg puts his punches together up and down. I do like that. And he sits in the pocket, but if he's going to sit in the pocket, let's hope he doesn't sit in the pocket too long with Martinez. I want to see him putting punches together against Martinez, in and out and to the sides. Lateral movement is what he's going to need against Martinez. Can he do it in 12 rounds? I don't know. But we're going to find out if Quigg really is world class. I'll tell you something. The reason why I'd love to see Quigg versus Frampton is because I think, with all that Frampton is, I think he's a 360 fighter. I think he's an awesome fighter. I'm a big Frampton fan. But the one thing I think is a weakness to Frampton is his body. I really do think he's got his suspect around the body, Frampton. Not the chin, the body. I saw a couple of fights where he's been hit to the body and didn't like it. Not that anybody who gets hit to the body likes it, but you know, if you're looking at something to look at Frampton, I think his body shots. And I think Frampton to the body and Frampton to the head of Quigg, and Quigg to the body of Frampton. That's how I see that fight going out. Really do. I think it's a great style. Much like Smith versus Callum Smith versus Rocky Fielding. Rocky Fielding, I think, is an excellent head puncher, but I think Callum Smith's a better body puncher.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So I think, again, similar sorts of styles right there. You know, so for me, I can't tell you. I'd love to see Quigg win the fight. I really would. But, hey, see that right hand of Martinez is, he could do it.
It's a really...
I seen him go abroad. You've seen him go abroad. You've seen Martinez go abroad and take a man's head off. And it's like that guy wasn't a bum. He was a world champion. So I think it was the IBF championship he won, which then Frampton came back and beat him for. Some people have just got your number. You know, so you ask yourself the question, is Quigg better than Frampton? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, does he hit as hard as Frampton? Is he a better boxer than Frampton? Has he got a better boxing brain than Frampton? Nobody knows. July 18th, we're going to know a lot more about Scott Quigg.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, it's such a dangerous fight for Scott Quigg, but he has to do it. He has to fight someone because he's just going to, you know, he gets called I think he gets a little bit of a hard ride myself. He gets called a bit of a plastic world champion, all that. That's the belts issue and all that. I know that, but yeah, very, very dangerous. Do you ever think Frampton and Quigg will ever happen? Do you think that will ever happen?
Under Al Heyman, all things are possible.
That's a good point. Well, what do you? I want to get your opinion on the whole. I know you've done some videos on it before, but the check thing. I thought it was a little bit cheap, personally. Not the amount of money.
I was cheap and cheeky. Yeah, it was cheap, and it was cheap. I mean, 1 million. What does 1 million pay? After you paid your trainer, your manager, your promoter, your sparring partners, what the hell? Your expenses to get to and from camp. What are you left with? Probably a couple of grand, you know.
Yeah.
Or spice to say, in just a little bit of money to go down and chippy afterwards to celebrate. I mean, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
So it was cheap, and you know that fight that's a big money fight.
Yeah.
That's definitely I think it's a Wembley fight.
Yeah. So that obviously.
So
Yeah. So obviously the relationship between Eddie Hearn and the McGuigans is not very good, to say the least, at the moment, due to that kind of game.
That doesn't help.
Yeah.
That doesn't help.
Sort of like chucking the check out there and seeing like, oh, take it, and then trying to get the whole boxing world to say, why aren't you taking it? Do you think Frampton and the McGuigans were right for doing what they're doing? You know, now it's what, you know, they're signing with Al Heyman. Although they've had a couple of lower fights, do you think that's in their best interest, or do you think he should have taken the Quigg fight?
Hey, think about this. Frampton made his first defence in Ireland, or not in Belfast, in front of that crowd. Do you think that for 1 second that Al Heyman didn't tune in and watch that fight? And McGuigan said, we'll show you what we can do. We'll show you what we can do. Yeah. We'll show you what we can do. And Al Heyman's going, yeah, that little Irish boy can fight. Al Heyman, McGuigan said, probably may have said to Al Heyman in negotiations before signing with Al Heyman, like, we'll show you what we can do in Ireland. We'll see what we can do. We'll show you what we can do. We'll put on a show for you. So Al Heyman's tuned in, saw this little Irish boy beat up an American, beat him up good as well, explosive, big crowd. Hey, I'll sign an Irish kid, no problems. And they want to make the fight with Scott Quigg. That's no problems. We can make money. We can make money of this fight. So I think Al Heyman's not a mug. He's not a fool. He'll take on Carl Frampton, make a star out of Carl Frampton. And if Scott Quigg can get past Martinez, which is no foregone conclusion, if he can get past him, then I think we've got a super fight down the line, definitely.
Yeah, definitely, mate. So, you know, it could turn out being even bigger because you look at Mayweather-Pacquiao, and people said, oh, you should have taken the fight, and then you actually be patient, wait a couple of years, and you have a proper mega fight. I think
absolutely.
Froch Grove's going to happen because of their decision, didn't it? But that was nowhere near as big on the first fight, so brilliant. Well, mate, it's been wicked to get all your knowledge and thoughts on what's going on in boxing at the moment. It's been amazing to have you as the first guest on my show. Means a lot.
Appreciate that.
And excellent. Anyone listening, go and subscribe to, if you're already not, Bayloric TV Boxing and Bayloric Worldwide TV. He's also got a load of other things going on. You've got a radio show going on. You've got
absolutely
spinning lots of plates. Good to see. And just thanks so much for that, mate.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.